For the protocol this evening, I wish that you all mute your microphones and you utilize the chat. For those who don't know how to utilize the chat, I'll show you how to do that. All right, so before we begin, I'm just going to ask Sister Grant to just give a word of prayer. Sister Grant, go ahead and unmute your mic and just pray for us to begin.
Okay. Loving Lord and our Father, we thank you, dear God, for this, your goodness towards us. We thank you for this, your day, dear Father, that you have given us, that we can come again to learn something that will enhance your work. We commit the presenters into your care, Brother and Sister Graham. And Father God, even as we learn, Father God, open our minds and our creativity, that we will know what it is that we can do and how we can do it to reach others in such a time as this. Into your hands we commit this session, and I pray that you will be with each and every one of us who participate. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Sister Grant. Now, the first thing that I want you to take note of, this is the overview for this evening session. The first thing that I'll do is the audio setup. I'll show you how to mute and unmute your microphones. I'll demonstrate how to start and stop your videos, to change your name or rename yourself, how to view the participants list, how to interact with other participants, send messages to everybody or to individual persons in the session, how to leave or end a meeting, and finally, I'm going to end with some Zoom do's and don'ts. All right, so welcome to this session again, and I hope that you find it informative. Now, the first thing that I want you to take note of is when you entered the room, the first thing that happened was that you were admitted to a waiting room. Now, it wasn't always like this, but because of the different issues that can occur when doing online meetings, Zoom saw it fit to, institute a waiting room policy or a lock room policy to allow certain persons to enter the room. So this is why you had to be in a waiting room for the host to admit you to the room. All right. Now, the interface, as you're looking at the diagram on the screen, to the top left corner, where it says Zoom meeting ID, that is a meeting ID for the session that you're in. Now, for our room, the meeting ID is 535-828-0084. So you see that to the top left corner. Now, here we have some information in the white area here. Because I'm sharing my screen, you won't be seeing that information. But ordinarily, before I started sharing the screen, this is what you would see. You'd see the meeting topic, the name of the host, the invitation URL, which you can copy and share with other persons, the participant ID, which is your individual ID, and you have the icon, the join audio, computer audio connected, the share screen icon, and the invite others icon. All right. Now, below that, you have to the bottom left, you have two icons. One shows a microphone and the other shows the video. Now, with the microphone, this is where you control whether you mute or unmute your microphones. Same thing with the video. So we'll be going through all of that. All right. Now, beside that, in the bottom center of the same diagram, and you should be seeing this on your screens as well, you have the invite option. This will allow you to invite other persons to the session via email or via the link. You have the participants, so you see the number of participants in the room. You have the share screen option, which, if enabled by the host, will allow you to share your screen. And beside that, to the right of that, you have the chat icon and the record icon. So we'll be going through these individually as time progresses. Now, beside that, to the extreme right bottom of your screen, you should see the option to leave the meeting. And that is when the meeting has ended and you want to exit the meeting. You have two options to exit the meeting. You can select the leave meeting option, as well as you can close your browser altogether, and that will allow you to exit the room. All right. Now, audio setup. For most of you, this would have been done already. But for if you want to, tell somebody how to enter a room and set up their audio, once you select the link or enter the meeting ID, you should see this option that says, if you're using a mobile device, you see the option that says phone call. If you're using your computers, you'll see computer audio. So this allows you, one of two things happens here. You can join with computer audio, microphone, okay? After you've done that, you go to the next option is for you to go to the bottom left of the screen and join your audio. A lot of persons from time to time will come into the room, they won't hear anything, and they're wondering why they're not hearing anything. It's because they didn't complete this first important step. So you join with computer audio. If you're using your phone, you see the option to join with your mobile device. All right. So once you've seen this, then the next step is for you to join your audio. Now, the first thing we're going to learn how to do is to mute and unmute your audio. So to the bottom left of the screen, the first icon there, after you've joined your audio, if your microphone is open, you should see the green bar moving up and down, right? And this means that it is collecting the information, your audio information. So whether you're speaking or somebody in your background is speaking, or if there's any movement in your background that causes noise, then you will see the green bar moving up or down. All right. So how do you mute this? Once you select mute, you'll see the red line go straight across that microphone, which most of you should be seeing now. All right. So I just want you to try that. Just unmute and mute yourselves. Just unmute.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I
Bev,
unmute.
right. So once you finish speaking, you just mute back the microphone and that should be fine. So we all should know in a setting in a Zoom setting, whether it's a church or a meeting, how to mute, one, how to connect to our audio, and how to mute and unmute our microphones. Now, the second thing is for you to start and stop your videos. Now, there are some things that come with this. Ensure that your background is, in a good condition before you start your audio. But we can do it now, but if you don't feel comfortable showing your video rather, then that's fine with you. So this video, it accesses your video camera. So it allows you to turn on or off your camera so that persons can see you. Now we are going to go into some things towards the end of this presentation to guide you as to what is acceptable and unacceptable when in a Zoom meeting. All right. So feel free to try that to start your video and to stop your video. Background as well, lovely background. Other persons may wish to try. Yes, Brother Flynn, I'm seeing you. All right. So you all know how to start and stop your videos. Now, how do we view the participants list? Now, to the bottom center of your screen, you should be seeing the option. Oops. You should be seeing the option bottom center that says participants. And once you select that, it will show you all the participants in the room. All right. So you would appear at the top. Your name should appear at the top. Whatever name you entered the room with should appear at the top. Now, I want to point out here that it's very important for you to change your names. There are persons who enter the room and they have Galaxy S8, Galaxy Tab, or DL, whatever. We don't know who these persons are. And for security purposes, we recommend that you identify yourself, right? This is your government issued name. Your parents gave you this name. So you identify yourself, right? So how you do this? If, for instance, you entered the room and you see at the top of the participants list, Galaxy S8, you can simply rename yourself. How do you do this? You go to more, you go to your name, click on more. I want this person to come in, this Galaxy Tab A. I want this person to come in because I need them to change their name, right? So if I don't know who this individual is, right? And it happens so often in our church services, we don't know who the persons are. So they come into the room and they have their device name there. Now to the top of that participants list, that's where you will appear, right? So you're at the top, then the host. So how do you rename your device or rename yourself? You hover over your name, just click on the More tab and rename. A box will pop up and you type your name there. If you're not the only person who is listening in, you can always change to the Grants family or the Flynn's family, whatever you want it to be. But let it be something that allows us to identify you as that individual. Because when you're speaking, the host needs to be able to say, yes, so and so, brother so and so, sister so and so. All right, so it's recommended that you rename yourself. Most persons here, your names are already appropriate, but if you are using a device and the device name is there, that's just a simple way of changing your name. I'm going to ask Galaxy Tab. Let's see who that is. To rename themselves using the instruction Galaxy Tab A. I don't know who that is. And AQT100, I'm not sure who that is either. So I'm just going to ask you to rename yourselves to something that identifies you. You may be wondering, why are we doing this? Now, there's something known as Zoom bombing, right? And we don't want to admit persons who should not be in the church, especially in a church setting. So you have persons who will access your meeting room link. Yes, there's a password, but there's always a workaround, and I'm sure we send out the password to persons who access the room. So you have persons with malicious intent who will come into the room and will drop obscene material. It has happened before. That's why Zoom instituted the waiting room option. And that's why we recommend that you give yourself an appropriate name. AQT100, I don't know who you are, and you haven't changed your name. Let me know if you're having any challenges renaming yourself, or you can just let the host know who you are and they can rename you as well. Galaxy Tab A, I'm not sure who that is either. So you can just go to the top, click on more.
100 me. Tab A.
Okay. So Sister Palmer, what I want you to do is to
I'm just name.
Okay, no problem. But that's the thing. We want to be able to readily identify persons. All right.
So I really need to know how to rename myself.
Right. So at the top of the participants list, you should see Galaxy Tab A, and in the bracket, you should see me beside it. So just hover over your mouse, use your mouse to hover over your name.
I am not seeing it. I'm only seeing 5 participants right here.
Click on participants or select participants. And then at the top of the participants list, you should see your name.
On a phone, okay. Happy we're here, so.
Still no, I'm in participant interaction. That's where I am.
Yeah, we see it.
Yes, once you tap the phone, then you come out.
Just go up to the, just click on participants itself.
And in here. And then you
If
see
not, the host can rename you.
Well, host, please
The
rename.
arrow.
And once you enter the room from this point forward, you will see your name.
I haven't seen it all.
Please repeat how to rename your rename during a service. Oh, this is a deal chat.
Right, until Maxine, your mic is open and I'm hearing you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mhm. No worries, this is a learning platform. All right, now we're going into participants interaction. Now I have 3 images here on the screen. Now this is just showing you that there are 3 different versions of Zoom. So depending on the version that you have, this is what your view will look like. All right, so the first image, the one that has participants 5 with Lisa, Urban, Patrick, Alyssa. Now there are some icons here that allows you to interact in the session. A lot of persons come in and they select the raised hand icon, believing that it's a wave that you're waving to the persons in the room. That's not the case. Once you raise your hand, it's an indication that you have a point to raise or something to say. So once you raise your hand, once you select the raise hand icon, if you notice in the image beside Lisa Urban, the same image that is in the left, the raise hand icon is right beside her microphone and her camera. So this is indicating that Lisa has her hand raised. Now, after you have made your point, you can simply click on the icon again to lower your hand. So at this time, I'm going to ask you to look at the version that you have and look for raised hand and raise your hands for me, please. Just click on that icon. Right, so I'm seeing that you have all 5 out of 30. Right, so once you have raised your hand, I'm seeing a lot of persons so able to raise their hands. Right, so once you have raised your hand, then you can lower it once you have completed stating your point.
Am I raising my hand?
Yeah, no, I'm seeing you have a thumbs up. That's fine.
I don't see that one. I don't see the raise your hand icon.
All right, it should be.
This is the one I'm seeing.
All right, click that one again, Sister Allison. Because that one is in another section. So the first one would be raise your hand. It looks like you clicked on more because that.
No, what I see, what is at mine? You have participants, then chat, then screen share, and record and reactions.
Oh, use the reactions option. So that's why you're getting the raised hand should be where your chat is. So to the right of the screen, right under participants, you should see the option.
When I press
chat,
I'm seeing where you can actually write. But
right, I know, but above that, you should see the raised hand icon. It depends on the version that you have.
Yeah, not seeing that.
You're not seeing any other images that I have on the screen. You're not seeing any at all.
What device is she using, Brother Andre?
It's my computer.
Oh, Sister Allison?
I'm using a computer. This is what
so you should be able to see.
Lenovo computer.
Are you seeing? All right. Yeah. So when you're in participant and you're seeing it in participants as well, Sister Grant.
At the bottom, the far left.
Okay.
On the computer.
So Sister Allison?
Yes.
Once you're in the participant section, you should be seeing that.
Okay, I'm seeing it now.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
You're welcome. All right, so I'm seeing 4 hands still raised. So you can just lower your hands. Sister Grant, your hand is still raised. Brother Flynn. Right, so Alison, your hand is now raised, so you can now lower your hand. Right, so when you raise your hand, you should see the raise hand icon beside your name in the participants list. So that's an indication that your hand is raised. So once you click on it again, you see the option. Once you select raise hand, there's option to lower your hand afterwards. Or once again, the host can lower your hand for you. Now, beside that raised hand icon, you have several other icons that can be used for interaction. You have yes. So if somebody asks a question, are you having a good day? You can indicate yes or no. So I'm going to ask you now to use that icon. So are you having a good day? If you have the option that says invite, the image that says invite, unmute me, raise hand, you won't be able to access these other functions because this means that you're using an older version of Zoom, or it should be in the bottom center that says reactions. All right. So we're going to be I'm just going to be asking you some questions, and you in a question rather, and you indicate yes or no. All right. So are you having a good day? So use the icon beside the raise hand icon, the yes icon or the no icon, to indicate if you're having a good day, yes or no. Is it that we're not seeing the icon to say yes or no? I'm not seeing any responses.
No, I'm not seeing that icon.
So,
Andre.
all right, if you found the raised hand icon, beside that,
yes,
you should see yes or no. Once again, it depends on the version of Zoom that you have. If you have the one that says, the second image that says invite, unmute, or raise hand, you won't be seeing the option to say yes or no.
Brother Andre.
Yes.
This is Sister Brown. I don't see my name. I'm touching the icon, but then I won't know if...
You're not seeing your name?
Yeah, on the participants?
It should be at the top.
Maybe.
You see your name at the top in the participants listing.
All I'm seeing is Lisa Urban, Glenna ML, and Patrick and all of those.
No, man. That's my display, no.
Oh,
that is
so
my
where am I
display.
to?
So you know, in the center of your screen, are you using a cell phone or a computer?
Cell phone.
All right. So on the cell phone, just tap and scroll up, because on the cell phone it's kind of tricky because the options disappear once you are in a room. So you can just scroll up.
Maybe I need to go on the computer then.
No, man, you can use a cell phone as well. What you can
scroll up.
Just tap in the middle of the screen, the bottom middle of the cell phone, and you should see the options come up. And then you select participants. Because it seems you download the Zoom app. You downloaded the Zoom application. So I'm seeing Sharon found the yes, no. I see Audrey saying yes. Right. So I'm seeing other persons responding, said that they're having a good day. Jermaine, right. Sister Allison said no. Well, initially she changed that to yes. All right. Sterling, I'm seeing you. Concita Henry, yes. Steve Lennon, Tanya's iPhone. Right. All right. So for the most part, you're seeing those icons, yes and no. Now, if you're in a session and you want the presenter to go slower or faster, those are the options that you would use. And once again, depending on the version that you have, then you will see the option to go slower or go faster. All right. Now, in the more link, you have the option to like or dislike, a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And there's one other, right? You can give an applause, that's a clap, right? Then beside that, you need a break. And beside that, you can set your status to away. So you can toy around with those options. I'm seeing persons who are actually trying out all the options. That's very good. So you have the thumbs up, the thumbs down, the applause. You need a break. And then you have the away signal. All right. So these are ways how you can interact in Zoom, right? Because if you're away from your computer, you don't want to be called upon and you're not there, because that affects the quality of the recording and the user's experience on the Zoom platform, right? So a lot of times persons log into Zoom and they're not in front of the computer. They're there, it shows that they're active, but they're not in the physical space. So it's best for you to use up that option. So if you're, so person, it's an indication that you are not at your machine. All right, I seen a raised hand from Uni. Is
Andre, can you repeat that again, please?
Who was it?
This is Audrey.
Oh, okay.
Repeat what you just said again, that when they're not, when they're going to step away, what they need to do.
Oh, right. So when you're stepping away from your computers or your devices, you can use the option that says away. So that persons, once you select away, it shows that you are not at your computer. So persons will be logged in. You can be logged in, but away, right? So you don't want to be called upon and you're not there. So these are ways that you can show that you are not at your device. Okay. So we all should be clear now how to interact in the chat, in a Zoom meeting, to indicate different things. If you want the presenters to go faster, to go slower, if you like what was said, if you don't like what was said, a thumbs up, a thumbs down, if you need a break, if your status is away. Sister Pama, I see your hand is raised. Are you trying out the raised hand icon, or are you have a point or a question to ask?
Can I ask a question, please?
Sure, Sister Ramsey.
I am logged in on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I have no volume. I am actually speaking from Brother Nelson's phone.
Okay.
It's why
it means that you need, I'm seeing you, but it means that you need to connect your audio. So right. So you go to the device. I'm hearing some speaking in the background. Can you mute your microphones, please?
Okay. Help me out again.
All right. So on your device, when you're in the Zoom room, you should see the option to join audio or call in audio. If you're on your cell phone, that's what you would see.
Join audio. Let me see now.
So just tap on just open the Zoom meeting, just tap on the icon, and you see the option to join or call in audio or call in audio device. So
am I there now?
I'm not sure if you're there. I'm not seeing your screen, but you should see it to the left of your screen of the device.
It says call in.
Yes, so you need to select that. Just tap on that, and that will allow you to join your audio. So you'll be able to hear after that.
Oh, Professor.
All right.
I mean.
Okay, good. All right, just mute back Brother Nelson's microphone. Thank you. All right, now another way to interact with persons in the room, in a Zoom meeting or a Zoom session, is to use the chat room. I'm seeing some active chat. I'm not able to view them now, but I'm hoping that you're able to get your questions answered. Now, how to access the chat? Once again, in the middle of your device, if you're using a computer or even a cell phone, you can select chat. Once you select chat, the window will open, right? If you're on a mobile device, it can be a little tricky because once you go into chat, that's the only thing that you will see displayed on the device, right? But if you're on your computers, your laptops, or your or a tablet that's big enough, you'll be able to see the chat window with the participants window and everything else that is happening. All right. So how do you chat? Now, depending on the settings that were created, when the settings that were done when the room was created, you'll be able to chat to everyone in the room, or you'll be able to chat to the hosts only. If you have several hosts, you'll be able to speak to them only, or the chat can be disabled altogether. So this depends on the settings in the meeting room. But because we're a church and we're very interactive, we encourage persons to speak to each other so the chat is open to so everyone can access it. All right. So at this time, I'm going to ask you to just type something in the chat. Your name, well, just this activity, you're going to type something positive, right? So I am Andre. So my name begins with A. So I'm going to say awesome Andre. All right, so you're going to type in the chat to everyone the first letter of your name and something positive that describes you. So for me, I am awesome Andre. I'll just type that in the chat. Okay, I see loving Lorna. Brother Finn, you're supposed to use the first letter of your name. Joyous Janet, Vivacious Venice, right? Pleasant Pancita or Pancetta, Jovial Jacqueline, right? So you're all able to talk in the chat. Now, in the chat, you see that in the to line, Admirable Angela, awesome Alexia, that's good, that's true. Studio Sharon, okay, all right. So you're all able to use the chat. Now you're able to type to everyone, and this is where everyone will see it. You're also able to type privately. So how do you do that? Now, how do you click on in the to line, you have a drop-down list. And when you have a drop-down list, you see all the persons that you're able to talk to privately, right? It is now enabled where you can send the messages privately, right? So persons who haven't typed yet, you can go ahead and type your, I'm not sure who H Rich is, lovely Lorraine. All right, so I'm seeing you're all interacting with the chat. If you want to send a message to everyone, ensure that in the to line where you're typing, just above where you're typing, it's set to everyone. So now I'm typing to everyone. So I send a message to everyone. Now, if I wanted to send a message to the host to say something is not going right, I'm not hearing, I can simply go to the to line, click on the drop down arrow, and I send a message privately to Washington Gardens Seventh-day Adventist Church. That's the name of the host. And once I do that, once I select somebody's name, privately comes up in red beside that person. So this is an indication that this message is a one-on-one message. You're sending this message to that individual only. And when they respond, you will see privately beside their name as well, right? So if you want to send that message privately, you can go ahead and check that out. Once again, this is dependent on the meeting settings, so you won't be able to maybe speak one-on-one in a regular setting, right? So that option can be disabled, but as it is now, you can change it and you can just choose a name of a person and select to speak to them privately. Or if you want to speak to everyone, you go back to the tool line and select everyone. All right, so I'm seeing everybody is, thank you. I can see everybody is using up the chat. So you can interact with the Zoom tool as well. Okay. All right, so the next activity that we're going to be doing is changing our views. Now, depending on what you want it to be, you can change your view. You have two options. You have speaker view and you have gallery view. Now, when you select gallery view, you'll be able to see everyone that is in that session, all the participants in that session. Whether their videos are on or off, you'll be able to see everyone. When you select speaker view, this will allow you to see only the person who is speaking, whose microphone is open and speaking. Now, it's very important for me to interject here that if multiple persons have their microphones open, it can detract from the main speaker, because depending on what your background is like or how loud your background is, you can interrupt the speaker. So persons will see you instead of actually seeing the speaker that is speaking at the time. All right. So the next slide is just an example of what the gallery view is versus the speaker view. All right. In the gallery view, you're seeing everybody, and that's located at the top right of your screens. If you're using a cell phone, it may be difficult because with a cell phone, you can just scroll across and you'll be able to see the participants whose videos are on. So I'm not sure if gallery view is available on the mobile devices, but if you're using a laptop or a desktop, you'll be able to see speaker view and gallery view. And once again, the gallery view allows you to see all the participants in the room, whether they're speaking yes or no, or the speaker view allows you to see the individual who is actually speaking. Now, if the host is sharing, which I am doing now, you may not be able to see it in full screen. Right, so once I'm sharing, because I'm sharing the screen, you may not be able to see those views. But once I stop sharing, you'll be able to see gallery view or as the speaker view. Let me just stop sharing so you can see. All right, so you can go ahead and try use the gallery view or the speaker view. That's to the top right. So you should see multiple tiles. So once you select that, you should see multiple tiles. And if you select the speaker view, then whoever is speaking, that's the view that you will get. Okay, so you should be able to toy around with that. But remember that this is not available once. Yes, Brother Nelson, I've seen your microphone.
I'm only seeing you and view.
Right, because you're in you're using a cell phone.
Yes.
Yeah, as I said before, it's difficult in the cell phone to see the other person. You have to scroll across.
Understand? Okay. All right.
All right.
I can't find mine either. I'm using a
Yes,
laptop.
understand. I scroll across and yes, and say that. Right. That's true.
Right. Yeah. All right. Venice, you said something earlier.
I can't.
It's at the top. Your mic is muted, Venice. So it's at the top right.
Top right, nothing. Full screen, that's it. I'm not seeing anything.
No, man, you should be
All right,
seeing.
Not seeing anything like that.
And that's you can select to see a gallery view. Just mouse over it. If where you see full screen, enter full screen or exit full screen. Beside that, to the left of that, you have gallery view.
I'm not seeing anything like that, Andre.
All right.
Exit full screen, that's it. I'm not seeing anything like that. Can't get to my gallery at all.
Do you want me to share my screen and demonstrate?
Please go ahead, thanks.
Yes, Jackie, go ahead.
Are you seeing?
We're seeing your screen, but we're not seeing, you're not in Zoom right now. You're in Facebook.
What happened?
Did you share the entire screen or just the share the desktop as opposed to sharing?
Wait, just a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think I'm doing it successfully.
All right. Let me see if I can share my screen. Hold on, and just show email loop. Okay, it's all right. 1 second. I have a presentation open, so it won't work like that. All right, let me just continue in interest of time. I'll just try and help out Venice. I just want to get through this presentation and then I'll just help out Venice so that she can see exactly what I'm doing. All right. Now, if you want, at the end of the meeting and you want to exit, to the bottom right of the screen, there's a leave meeting option. Don't click on it just yet, because once you click on it, that's where you exit the meeting. Don't click on it just yet. So when the meeting has ended, you can click on the leave meeting option to exit the room, or you can close your window. So those are two ways you can exit the meeting. Leave meeting, or you can just simply close the application. Now I'm just going to be playing this video, and before we get into the do's and don'ts of Zoom. Disclaimer, this is something that is on social media, so it's nothing that I created or be using for anything other than just this demonstration.
Profession is one of the only professions that say that we
Take
can
a look
never
at
get
the
involved with a
left
former
of
client
the
ever,
screen.
regardless of how long it's been, versus like some other professions say a few years or whatever. I think it really depends on just like the ethical standards of the profession. And in reality, I've heard that social work kind of has very high standards and like good standards in terms of things. And like people of other professions don't have. Yeah.
Hold on.
What happened?
I saw nothing. Oh my God.
Poor Jennifer.
I gotta
What happened?
Nothing. Keep going.
All right. So I just want somebody to just grab the mic, raise your hand first of all, and just grab the mic and tell me what they observed just now. Okay, go ahead, Sister Grant.
One participant in particular keeps on moving up and down while the video was on.
Right, and you notice where she ended up?
Yes, on the ground.
She was in her bathroom.
In the bathroom, and her clothes seemed like
she
wasn't appropriately dressed for a meeting.
Okay, and right. So these are some of the things that that happens. Right? These are things that happen in Zoom. And as you can see, this has gone viral. Now, so we're going now into some do's and don'ts when you're in a Zoom room or a Zoom setting. Now, the first thing that you do, you check your device and your internet connection to ensure that they're working properly, right? So as you see hardware there, just check your devices. Whatever device you're going to be using for the Zoom session, just check it to ensure that it's working and check the internet connection as well. All right? Another do, mute yourself when you're not speaking. All right, this is very important because a lot of persons, they come into the room, they're watching television, their radio is on, they're cooking, so you hear the pot cover dropping in the background, you hear the babies crying, the dogs barking. So it's important for you to ensure that you're muted when you're not speaking. So mute yourselves when you're not speaking because it causes a distraction when the background is noisy and you're not there. So once again, if you're not at your machines, you set your status to away and you mute yourselves when you're not speaking. Now, ensure that your camera is positioned properly, right? Your upper body and face must be visible. Not only that, but ensure that you have proper lighting. So wherever you're going to be using for your video, ensure that the background is, clean. Ensure that your camera is positioned properly. Ensure that the lighting is good. All right, so these are just some practices that we want to see going forward, right? Because it makes no sense to have your camera on and you're in a dark room. So ensure that it is positioned properly. Dress for the occasion. Now, a lot of persons, because they're in the comfort of your homes or wherever you are, you have on anything, you're in your bedroom, you're lying down in your bed, and your camera is on. That's a no-no. So ensure that you dress for the occasion, right? So you're coming to church, you don't have to have on a full suit, but ensure that whatever persons are seeing, whatever you have on is appropriate. So there are times when persons come in, they're in their beds and they're in their nightgowns or their pajamas. We don't want to see that, especially in a church setting, right? And there are persons who love to turn on the cameras for whatever reason. If you're one of those persons who love to turn on the cameras, ensure that you're appropriately attired. No, use earphones or headphones,
get a Zoom
headsets,
suit.
or get a Zoom suit. There's actually, get a Zoom suit. Right, there's a video that is circulating now. I'm sorry I didn't have it in this presentation. That the gentleman is lying down in his house, and as soon as he knows he's going to go on Zoom, he has a half suit that he wears, that he just throws on to look presentable when he's on camera. So if you have, just have a jacket nearby. You don't have to dress up formally, but just look appropriately attired once you're going to be using your cameras. All right, use earphones. Now, this is very important because you have persons who are in the same household who will be coming to church using, whatever device. And when the microphone is open, feedback, right? Because both of you are in the same space and you're listening in on the same, activity. So for this, to mitigate against this feedback, use earphones. So if you're using that device alone, you use your headset with that device. Don't have it open because that will cause a feedback. All right. If you're using one device and there are several persons there, you don't need the earphone, right? But if you're using multiple devices, use your earphones. Now, for persons who do not wish to be on camera and you have a personal Zoom account, you can have a profile picture and this will be displayed whenever you're speaking, right? But if you want to use a camera, as I said before, it's important for you to dress for the occasion. Yes, go ahead, Sister Grant. Your hand is raised.
The profile picture. I tried it over the week and here, but I noticed logging on now, the picture is not there. So
it depends. Is it on the same device that you created the profile?
Yes.
All right. Did you access the link from a different space? If you didn't, if you did, then that will cause a problem. If you want to use your profile picture all the time and you have the app, the desktop app on your device, then you access the desktop app first, then you enter the meeting ID. So that will allow your profile picture to come up all the time.
Okay, so I will use my account instead. Okay, to log into my account.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. When you're coming on Zoom as well, you find a quiet, private space. You don't want to be somewhere where there's so much noise in the background you cannot hear what is happening. Right, especially if you're somebody who is a presenter. You find a quiet, private space so that when you're presenting, there's no distraction. Now, this is very important. Avoid touching your face, picking your nose, or scratching body parts while on camera. Right? And we have what is known as a poker, in media, it's known as a poker face, where no matter what is happening around you, you control and contain yourself. So as a presenter, when your camera is on, there are certain things that you avoid. Touching your face, picking your nose, scratching your armpits, whatever it is, you avoid those things because you are on camera and you're presenting. If you know that you can't contain yourself, then you don't turn the camera on. All right, and there are persons who, well, we're getting into the don'ts now, so I'll just address that there. Now, the don'ts when you're in a Zoom room. Don't talk over each other. So in the past, perhaps you didn't know how to navigate the platform and you didn't know the different icons. So I'm hoping that after this session, you'll be able to locate the raise hand icon, you'll be able to locate the chat function, so you don't open your mic and talk over each other, right? You raise your hand and wait to be acknowledged. It's similar in a classroom setting. If you have a point, or if you're in church, you have a point, you raise your hand and wait to be acknowledged. You don't talk over the other person just because you have a point to make. You wait to be acknowledged. So we don't talk over each other, right? You keep your microphone on. Don't keep your microphone on when you're not speaking. I cannot, punch this enough. Don't keep your microphone on when you're not speaking. And remember that as a church, we can't meet physically, so we're meeting virtually. And this is being streamed on Facebook, on YouTube, and it's being recorded. And it makes for poor quality when the microphone is open and you're not speaking and there's interference, background noise, whatever it is. All right? So don't keep your microphone on when you're not speaking. Don't look sloppy when using the video. So once again, this goes back to your appearance. How do you attire yourself? How do you sit? Do you lounge off because you're at home and you feel comfortable and your camera is on, right? So don't look sloppy when using video. Don't be distracted when using video as well, because once you are distracted, it causes distraction for other persons. So for persons who have cameras on and you're driving or you're walking up and down in your house, and your video is on, it takes away from the experience that persons can have, because they're not focusing on what the presenter is saying. They're more focusing on what is happening in your house or what is happening with you. So when your video is on, don't be distracted. Don't be on Zoom in a crowded space. It was said earlier that you should be in a quiet place. So this is just a flip side. Don't be on Zoom in a crowded space. All right, nothing is more annoying than you're in a room and there's a presentation going on and somebody's microphone is open, or even if you are the presenter and your background is extremely noisy. It makes the experience unbearable at times, and it affects the recording as well. And once again, we're in a virtual space now. We're getting the word out to persons, and we want it to become, go out with clarity. All right. Don't sit next to a person on the same Zoom meeting or the same Zoom call. I said this earlier, right? Just reiterating this point, that if you're in a space with somebody who's using in the same meeting room, it will cause feedback, and you don't want that. All right, use a headset. Don't fall asleep, stay alert. So once you're in the virtual space, once you're in the Zoom room, you're there for a reason. If you didn't want to be there, don't join, because persons can call upon you at any time, right? So don't fall asleep and stay alert. And to end this presentation, I'm just going to be playing another video just now to show you what can happen. And I just want to recommend that you not let this happen to you. So you are now aware, you are now equipped, so you should be able to monitor yourselves or navigate the Zoom space successfully. I'm going to be playing the video now to end.
Goodbye. All right. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
See you guys.
Tony!
Can you hear us?
Tony!
Oh no! Don't, Jen, call him. Oh my gosh!
I'm gonna put my pants. I got it.
Hold on, I'm gonna text a couple pictures of that. Oh. Oh.
So you should be looking at the top left screen.
What's up?
Tony, I can see you when you're
We can all see you.
So I hope you're seeing what's happening there. So Tony was in a meeting. The meeting has ended, and he felt pretty comfortable. So he got up. Even though he was appropriately attired at the top, he had no pants on, right? And his camera was on as well. Now, if Tony had a plain background, if his camera was set at a different angle, all of this wouldn't be, going viral now, right? So these are just some of the things that we want you to be aware of when you're in a Zoom meeting, especially when you're conducting church virtually, and when we're recording and broadcasting not only to us but to the entire world. All right, thank you for participating in this evening session. I really hope that you learned something from it, and we have spent 1 hour. And I'm just going to open the floor now. If you have your question, you open your microphones and you ask your questions, and I'll address them as best as possible. I see Sister Grant's hand was raised. You can go ahead, Sister Grant.
Okay, I'm asking about the share screen. The share screen is sharing your computer screen or the device screen that you have.
Okay, all right. So you can share several things. I didn't want to touch on that yet because we're recommending that we have another session for persons who wish to learn more about the back end of Zoom. Now for share screen, you have the option to share a presentation, to share a window, to share an application or to share your entire desktop.
Okay.
All right. And if it's enabled by the host, then you'll be able to share whatever it is that you want to share.
Okay, so if it's a
All right, but
presentation, you open your presentation and then...
and you share the screen from there.
Okay,
You'll be able to select the presentation and share your screen.
All right, good.
All right. Any more questions? Raise your hand. As I said, we're going to recommending to the communication team that if there are persons who think that they need to learn more about Zoom, who want to be administrators, then we can arrange for another session for these persons. But for this session, it's just to allow you to navigate Zoom properly, to monitor yourselves online while you're in church, virtual church, and any other Zoom meeting that you may be a part of. All right, opening the floor once again. If you have any questions, raise your hands, open your microphones, and ask your questions, and I'll address them appropriately. I guess Steve asked a question while hosting or co-hosting. There are a few persons who can't be muted. Why is that? For one, it may mean that they don't have any microphones, or it may mean that they have their mouse over the microphone icon. So once you mute them, they're unmuted. So that is a challenge as well. So persons leave their mouses over the microphone and accidentally touch it and you don't realize. So that's in response to Steve's question.
I raised my hand. I'm not so sure you're seeing. Can you repeat how to share your slides if you have a PowerPoint presentation, please?
Okay, so for persons, if this option is enabled in the meeting, which allows participants to share, then in the middle of the bottom center of the screen, you see the share screen option. What will come up? Once you open the presentation, you'll see it up, so you have the option to select the presentation to share. And then once you see that, you just select share, and then person will be able to see the presentation.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, great. So since there are no further questions, I want to thank you once again for being here. And I hope from this point forward, we'll have a wonderful interactive session in church. And I hope that you all learned something from this presentation. I now hand over to Jackie. Thank you for being here.
And this is Audrey, not Jackie.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Go ahead,
That's all
Audrey.
right. Thank you all for coming. This is all for now. So we will see you later at 7.
And I just want to thank the presenter
for
facilitating this session. It was very good. I myself learned some things as well, and I'm sure the participants learned a lot. And of course, we'll be having Zoom 102 shortly. So we'll let you know when. Thank you again, Andrea and Alexia.
You're welcome.
As Audrey said before, please get ready now to come back at 7. Our Stewardship Emphasis Week begins at 7 this evening with Pastor Herman Ming. You don't want to miss it. See you soon.